takes forever for this thing to go live. Okay, there it goes. Hey, we're
It
live.
still say off air for me.
Yeah, it's fucking goddamn Google Hangouts. What's up, everybody? How you doing? We are back with the talk show about everything. I'm here with my boy Flying Modem. Say what's up.
What's going on, everybody?
And with my boy Yorustrix. Say what's up.
Yo, what's going on?
All right, so
Did you actually say his name right, Mike?
I
That's
know
incredible.
I finally remembered who he was.
That is hilarious.
I know. I guess I've conceded to the fact that this is who he is. I've accepted you for what you are. You know, so there you go, sir. You've been
Is that supposed to be your owl's noise?
I don't know what that was.
Oh my god.
Anyway, let's just jump right into the topic. Lots of discussion about these console rumors. It's funny. Right before I went live, IGN started a wiki of Nintendo NX fucking rumors. It's like, seriously, are we getting to the point now where rumors demand wikis?
Well, I think this is a special case because the NX has been guarded so, like, its secrets has been guarded so well, and people are just coming out the fucking woodwork with all this shit. Like, it's going to be the next best thing. And a lot of it is like satire. Like, people who don't believe it's going to be the next best thing, and they're just throwing it out there. Like, the NX is going to be able to see in 1080p and be able to have motion controls like the Kinect, but better and actually work. Like, it's just fucking satire. So I understand the need to to list all of this shit that people are saying about it, because a lot of it isn't even from trusted sources. It's like fans with some kind of following.
Yeah, I'm sure this thing gets a lot of hits though, but
Oh yeah, I might do a Nintendo video just for the views. I can come up with some shit just for the views.
hey, why not? It works. It seems to work, and of course now everybody's got their rumors. Of course, the biggest one this week is the PlayStation 4.5 or 4K, whatever the fuck you want to call that.
PlayStation Neo and shit.
Yeah, they pretty much
Wait,
let.
I just thought about something. Does that make PlayStation Network the Matrix?
See,
Nah, that makes Sony the Matrix.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense now.
Anyway, so basically they like released what are the potential specs. The processor is supposed to go from 1.6 to 2.1. You're supposed to have a little faster clock speed, same amount of memory, clocks at a higher speed. A slightly higher clock video card. Pretty much like Modem was saying before we started, they're fucking like, you know, it's not really an up. At least in my mind, it's not an upgrade. It's like you're fucking overcharging your shit. That's all you're doing. Like, seriously. Like,
And see,
overclock your shit. That's it. That's all you're doing.
my thing with the PlayStation right now, and especially the Xbox One, I'm thinking about it. What if they could have had a CPU that was like 3.2 gigahertz per core, and they just went with the lowest capabilities to save on money and all that other shit, and they really could have gave us beast ass machines from the get go.
Well, that's what consoles do, though. They always have gone for the lowest common denominator because they want to be affordable. That's
Right.
that's what drives the console market, because it's an affordable piece of hardware that does everything you want to do, and you can use it for a set piece of time without having to worry about needing this upgrade, that upgrade. That's the like mentality of the
Right,
market that
right.
they
And
built.
see, that's what I'm saying. With this, um, fucking Sony are trying to grab another market because they've seen a lot of success. There's no denying that the PlayStation 4 is selling great. And now they see, well, shit, people talking about graphics, let's do this and make our machine more capable of doing these graphics. Now, I feel like that's going to piss a lot of people off. That's
Oh,
going
it's
to piss
already pissed a lot of people
well,
off.
I mean, even more, the people that aren't social media conscious. You know what I'm saying? The people, that other 70% of people who don't know about the PlayStation Neo or the rumors and shit like that. And once they find out, I feel like they're going to either drop PlayStation and buy an Xbox, especially if Xbox comes out with their own upgraded console or whatever. But it's like we were talking about our last talk show, the upgrading. What does that mean to upgrade? Like, are they gonna give people discounts? Are they gonna give them a trade-in value? You know what I'm saying? With that, it's like if they had came out with Beast machines before, and maybe not even so much like Beast, because if they came with like mid-tier instead of like the 1.6 or 1.5 CPU speed per core, they could have came out with like a 2.6, and made their machines capable of these things. But they underestimated the public's opinion of high resolution gaming and so on and so forth. So they didn't do that. And now that only thing they talk about when it comes to these consoles, because both consoles are great, a lot of games coming out on these consoles are great. The only thing that are criticized besides like personal things people don't like about it is resolution, because that's on the rage right now.
Honestly, I blame them for that though.
Right, and I do blame them
when the consoles first came out, and yeah, I will throw like Sony as the first offender of that, because they came out with the whole technical specs about all these teraflops and 1080p during their reveal and stuff like that. They threw all these numbers out there,
right.
Numbers that, as I've said many times, console people never really fucking cared about before. But that whole lead up to the launches, the numbers started to be thrown out so much that they became an issue. And you can't do that in the internet era, because people will jump on that shit, like seriously. And it's gotten to a point now where it became that whole thing. It's like, well, Call of Duty is better here because it's 900p on that platform, but it's only 720p on this platform, or whatever. However you want to do the split, however they do it, and that's how we report games now. That's how games are listed when media places talk about them. Like, yeah, it'll run 1080p natively here. It'll run 900 and then upscale 1080. Like, okay, you ain't talk about that shit before.
Yeah, but see,
now it is.
And it's also, whenever you look at these reviews and shit, and people run with these headlines and their videos and these blog posts and articles and all the shit, that the PlayStation has higher resolution. But when you read, like when you go to like the side-by-side comparisons, they always include, while the PlayStation 4 has better visuals, the Xbox One has better performance. So really, breaking this down to like simpleton terms, the PlayStation 4 is that hot bitch with the big ass breasts and the nice ass, and has no personality, and all she cares about material shit, while the Xbox One is the fucking bitch that's gonna hold you down.
Yeah, and vice versa. It goes both ways. It's both. They're just, and again, I must stress that, and it was funny. The thing is, if you were somebody who really, truly, you had to be in like a serious, how can I put this? You had to be seriously into the meta for last generation, but it was the same last generation, but nobody talked about it. Only that's what were like that fucking concerned
Right.
about it. Would
And that's
care
what
to
confused
dig
me
for that
about it.
stuff. Now everybody acts like they're an expert.
Like, when people were telling me that the Xbox 360 was doing 720p 60 frames per second, and then the Xbox One came out, and then Call of Duty Ghosts was only like 720p, and it was all this 900p talk and all this other shit, and just logically looking at something. When you come out with new hardware, and your hardware is better than your last console's hardware, and so on and so forth, then why can't your current machine do something at 720p 60 frames per second and whatever? So when I looked into it, I found out Call of Duty never ran at 720p native. None of the Call of Duties on the last gen consoles ran at 720p 60 frames per second native. It was always 480p native and upscaled to 720p. And a lot of games are like that on last gen. None of the games on last gen are actually fucking HD. And like with these new consoles, we just got into HD gaming. So honestly, I don't give a fuck about 900p. 900p looks fucking beautiful to me. And just looking at the comparisons between Gears of War 1 and Gears of War Ultimate Edition, the details they were able to add in, and so on and so forth, and the color depth and everything, it's so much better. So,
Well, a good example would be Quantum Break, which looks gorgeous.
right, I seen
but
footage of
it's
it.
not 1080p 60, but it's still a gorgeous looking game.
Right, exactly.
So I don't know. Chris, you've been quiet.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot to say.
It's
When you get quiet, you tend to go off. So go.
the kind of simple thing is just I think it's still people trying to say like I made the right decision in what I purchased. I'm somebody that is just really weird about it. Like I don't mind the consoles doing it because if my games perform better, I don't care. I've kind of put that out there. But I think the whole Steam Machine idea is what caused this. Once the Steam Machine started coming out, people started talking about, well, console versus PC performance, and oh, well, you're going to put a PC in your living room. Well, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One can be that. Well, let's start talking about resolution, and then let's start talking about how they're different than a PC, and then it just spiraled into this endless circle of like,
Right.
you're trying to catch up with something that you're not really trying to catch up with. Because to anybody out there, if you want a PC experience, you're gonna pay like $1,000 from a Microsoft or Sony, and nobody really wants to do that. Like, I don't think anybody argues for that. I think I don't know. To me,
Well,
the
no,
argument's just
apparently
so.
people can make $300, $400 PCs that are way better than the Xbox One and PS4.
But that's what I always quote people to say: $300 and $400 gets you something that is as good or slightly better than the current gen consoles. You can get something maybe 500. You can go a little bit beyond. But when people are talking about, oh well, we have to be ready for 4K and we have to be ready for this and that and this and that, like you're talking thousands of dollars worth of hardware.
Right.
And the issues like Sony, like y'all both were talking about, they all started marketing towards that. Like it's like somebody telling you, I'm gonna give you the best steak of your life, and then buying the steak from Walmart. Of course, you're gonna notice that it's not, because they were claiming these consoles to be like 1080p 60. We're gonna be doing this. We're gonna be doing this. We're gonna show you all these tech demos.
They
that
said
look
they
amazing.
were already 4K ready.
Yep, and they were like,
even
here's
Xbox
all these.
One was like, we're gonna display, like our machine is capable of displaying in 4K.
And here's all these tech demos to prove it. And then a year in, we already see games that aren't doing that. If it's like, don't give a check that you can't cash. Like, they knew what they were doing. Yes, it's part of the hype. It's part of moving consoles. But at the end of the day, like,
I feel like
we're where we are now because 2 years ago you set these unrealistic expectations
right
towards what these consoles were going to be.
Well, I feel like on Sony they were making bold claims. Like it's like that. I forget who was telling me this. It might have been like Mike or like we were talking about it on the podcast, but it's like some kind of law or whatever. Like you can say your product is the best in the world, and that's an unrealistic expectation. So they can't hold you to that if it's not actually the best product in the fucking world. So Sony came out with these bold ass claims, and Microsoft, the head of Xbox or whatever, didn't want to make it seem like their machine was underpowered, so they came out with these bold ass claims too. And then now we got two fucking heads of their logo or whatever telling us lies, and on top of that, feeding us, mixing it in with some facts. So when we look at the facts, well, yeah, these came out, so this must be coming later out. This must be coming later on. And now we're here and we're like, no, it's not. And in this era, like Michael was saying, it's the internet. People are way more educated about these things than they were in the past. You can get away with some shit like that in the previous, generational consoles. I'm sure they made all kinds of fucking claims. And some people have pointed out some of them, but I don't remember.
Hey, Sega can do what Nintendo don't.
Right.
Well, and I guess part of me would argue is that while we know more, we also don't apply it as much.
No, not properly.
Because
right.
There were the moments some places were coming out with the specs of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. There were people out there with plenty of technical know-how that were like, those aren't going to do what you're claiming it's going to do.
Right, and we shunned them and called them haters and was like, you don't know what you're talking about. And to an extent, some of them were hating, but some of them were more, they got thrown into the same bunch of the haters, but they were really just they're lying to us. And it's hard to be the one to be like, I'm just, being honest and stating facts when there's so many people that are just hating.
And and the hype has been built. Everything's been the hype is a lot louder than that. Like that person in the back saying, that's not actually true. So
and I think that idea is what sums up the gaming industry for the last 3 years. Games, consoles, all of it have just been generally things end up being blown way out of proportion, creating these kind of false expectations. And then when something doesn't happen, you get the response, which is anti-hype, where everybody's like, oh, this shit is garbage. I didn't even care about it to begin with. That's not what your Twitter said 2 months ago.
Right. Or you get to the point and it's not what you thought, and now all of a sudden you want to tear the industry apart. And they're betraying. They're okay, well.
And that's one thing. I think this discussion, I don't mind the discussion, but it's so much. I think we're setting yourself. I am more than willing to say, I'll wait to see whatever the PlayStation 4.5, the Nintendo NX, whatever Microsoft is going to do, which I don't know if they might just say we're moving all of our games also on the PC. I don't fucking know what they're going to do. And I'll see them come out and say, here are the games, and this is what they are. And I'll look at them and see how they run because I'm tired of this. We're going to just get marketed to, and I'm supposed to believe your marketing. Nope. Peter Molyneux used to be laughed at because anybody that remembers Fable remembers every single Fable was the greatest RPG ever made. It was time and time again the greatest RPG to ever come out, and it wasn't. But that's the standard.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It goes back to that. We can't hold them to that or hold it against them because it's too bold of a claim, too ridiculous of a claim for it to be true. So they can say that all they want. And because for whatever reason, it's an ad, we like it, so it's it must be true. It goes back to that Bill Cosby shit. 50 women raped Bill Cosby. He did it. He fucking did it. That's all you look at. You type in fucking Fable, Fable, blah, 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 Fable reviews, and you bring down a list, Fable, best RPG. Well, shit, it's the best RPG. That's just how people think.
I mean, because it's so funny because that's so true how the system works. Because, again, people don't remember IGN. People remember Too Much Water.
Right. IGN, too much water. What? You're fucking retarded. Like, don't read the whole review. None of that shit. Like, it's just too much water.
And IGN, I specifically target them because they're like the kings of that shit. I forget what game recently they came out with a review for, and it had some line that made no fucking sense in it. It didn't really say anything.
I think I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of what it is.
I want to say it was Ratchet and Clank.
I'm looking at my Twitter feed for like the first time in ever. But
yes, it was Ratchet and Clank. They gave Ratchet and Clank, the newest one, a 9.0. Do you know what they said the only negative of the game was?
Too much water?
Occasionally lonely.
What the fuck that I remember mean? That. Yeah.
What the fuck does occasionally
it's a single-player game
mean? And if you don't read the review, but the idea is IGN is putting that out as like, this is a summary of our review. That's
like they wish they had, like, and I get what, see, that to me would have been like, okay, I guess they want to play with their friends. Maybe they should add some kind of co-op experience. And after coming out with like 4 or 5 installments, you would think they would add some kind of co-op.
But see, this is the thing. You're going in knowing that this isn't what that game is.
Right.
So,
like, and that's the thing, like, it's this weird, it's that weird thing, like, I don't have a problem. If I sat down and read the review, I probably would understand whatever he's trying to say. But whatever you say,
is that what he's trying to say? Just so we clear.
I haven't read it. Okay. I just saw that and I was like, because I had to do the same thing with the Pokemon review. I had to sit there and read like a 2-page review because I had to figure out what the fuck he meant by too much water.
Right.
And to me, I'm like, a summary is supposed to tell me what you feel. It's supposed to be a few sentences worth of stuff.
That's great marketing by IGN, though, I gotta say.
Yeah.
It gets people talking.
And that's exactly what it is. It is
right.
It is marketing. It's like, I go to the IGN site, when I hear IGN review a game, what stupid shit did they say this time?
Right, exactly. And you might come in thinking it's some stupid shit and be like, it actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's all crazy.
But like I was saying, I'm going down my Twitter feed for the first time and whatever. But as I'm going down, I see one of my friends liked the video, and the title of the video is PS4 Neo, Sony's admission that they screwed up.
I was just about to mention something like that, and I know where you're going. Go ahead.
It's fucking retarded. It's fucking retarded. The PS4 Neo isn't Sony's admission that they screwed up. Neither console screwed up, and if they screwed up, it's not the hardware that they screwed up. They screwed up by lying to us, by feeding the machine.
Well, to go further, we're still in. I mean, I am willing to believe that the rumor is probably accurate, but it's still considered a rumor. No one's confirmed anything.
But that
title to me.
I mean, that's exactly what.
But see, what did Sony screw up on?
But that's
besides lying to us.
That's the title. That is the title of everybody that wants to just go along with that. It's not like it's the idea of like Sony decided to bring out another console because they realized the console they had is not as strong necessarily. Like people want to turn it into like, I knew they were lying to us this entire time. I told you. I'm like, or no.
Like, how about they see that there's a market for higher resolution gaming, and they want to cater to that market and try to make more sales.
And I honestly think that that's part of the reason why we're starting to get these talks is because to go back to people's response, now that everybody is all into this 1080p 60 frames, everybody keeps saying we want. And marketers are going to respond to that when customers keep saying something. And what's the best way to get it is to put out a better system. And, there are people who are going to buy that better system because they keep claiming that they need that. So you guys are kind of telling me I got a market for this where, again, like you said, the 70% who don't give a fuck are going to end up getting rolled over because that smaller percent that's loud and boisterous now will get what they want, but that's another 70% just wanted a game console. They wanted to play some games. We didn't. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't know that I was buying the wrong system. I just wanted to play games. And now the whole premise that really messes up the whole thing to me is the whole Neo mode thing, where they want developers to make the game in 2 versions.
Right.
Which is mind-boggling, because you already have these studios spending millions of dollars building these games for multiple platforms and to make sure that they could run on separate hardware. Right. Now you want to take within one hardware ecosystem and tell them, now you got to split it for ours for this as well. I got to do Xbox One, I got to do PlayStation 4, I got to do whatever you're going to call this new thing, and I got to do PC. So
you see,
you giving me the money for my budget because you just added fucking millions of dollars worth of work and like hundreds of hours of man hours to my development cycle.
Right.
When you should have just, if anything, make the fucking console the way that you probably feel like it should have been.
But I think that's the thing. To them, it's not that. Because it sounds like, at least, what it sounds like, Nintendo is going the farthest because Nintendo finally decided to join us in the post-2000s era. In terms of the power of consoles.
If they come out with a PS4.5 and a Xbox 1.5 or whatever the fuck they want to call that, and Nintendo comes out with something matching the current PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, then when they come out with their next one, it's going to be, the fucking Nintendo's going to be left behind again. And then the talks about Nintendo is like, well, you can't do 4K, Nintendo. And that shit's going to be fucking ridiculous.
But that's the funny thing. I think, first of all, I'm going to put this out there. The changes they made to the PlayStation 4 will not play 4K games.
Right, I see that already. Like you would need at least a 3.2 CPU per core. I mean, gigahertz per core, and more RAM, like, in a better GPU. And not just overclock.
Yeah, currently, the 980 Ti struggles at times with it. The fuck you think your 2.1?
There's fucking rigs that cost 2 and 3 Gs that have problems with 4K in certain games.
Yeah. So you telling me that this moderate upgrade is going to create?
Not even moderate. Like, it's a jump, but it's not like. It's not even a jump. It's like a
overclocking.
It's not even just overclocking. It's like a skip. Like niggas is playing hopscotch. And instead of doing like jumping 2, they jump to like half of 1. Like it's slightly better.
That's the thing. Like, I don't even know. Like Sony knows
the thing that I stress again, your current shit is even though it's everybody keeps on the again. Yes, the internet is screaming that this shit is underpowered, but clearly. It's accepted. We just heard that Microsoft sold over 18 million so far. Clearly, somebody likes that system.
See, but that's the thing.
It is.
But that's the thing.
Right.
So
somebody likes the ugly girl with a nice personality.
Do you know
it's like it does what it.
Do you know what Microsoft and Sony have realized though?
What?
They realize that they can now compete in some sense to get people like me. If you present a decent enough. It can't be minuscule. It has to be sizable enough or noticeable enough. Advancement in a console, you will get, and you can turn console players into essentially tech junkies. People that are constantly looking at the bleeding edge. They're not going to necessarily look at the bleeding edge of PCs.
The problem with that argument, to me, is you're already a tech junkie. I'm already a tech junkie.
But that's the thing.
If you were to and there's plenty enough tech junkies out there who own consoles.
Right.
But again, let's go back to that 70% that really doesn't give a fuck.
I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, that's where you get that general marketing. Like, because what do you do here? The people that are still on PS3s, you mark down the current PS4s, you have a new console to take their place. So you're, again, eliminating that backlog. You can pretty much start to stop production on PlayStation 3. Like, Xbox 360s are no longer being produced.
You're just going to make more money off the original PlayStation 4. Because nobody's going to buy that fucking 4.5.
I think the people that have not, if you were saving up to get a PS4 and you recognize a PS5 is coming out, there's not a reason to buy a PS4.
Yeah, and that I understand is true, but
it's the idea of like if they can come out, because all Sony has to come out and be like, well, here's the difference, and they show like Call of Duty, maybe for the first time they actually have it running in 1080p. And they show like the difference of the game, and they don't try to do their little tweaks to make one thing look better than the other. They show like a tangible difference between the two.
So you say they're just showing the Neo version because they're not going to show the other one, right?
Yeah, well, I say that
because if you show me both, if I'm just somebody who just want to play video games, I might be like, well, that looks better, but that looks fine. I'm just trying to play the game.
Like it's all about like that's why I think, and we talked about this before they started. That's why I think they're going to sell it with the PlayStation VR. I think it is. Logically speaking, it's a way that you can convince people to buy the console. One, if they already have a PS4, and two, there's going to be a sizable enough difference or a change in the overall use of the system that somebody might look at it and say, I don't just need to go with a cheaper option. Like, there is a reason to go with the more expensive or the newer version of it.
And see, I don't think that's going to work because ain't nobody's mom sitting there looking at fucking E3.
But I mean, the easiest thing I can say is the average gamer. I believe, like there was a study, like the average gamer is between like the ages of like 25 and 32 or something like that. Like most gamers fall into a category where they're going to be the people deciding. And I think at a certain point, if a game, if a game you want is coming out on the system, you'll buy it eventually. I bought an Xbox One because it was a good deal, but plus I knew Gears 4 was coming out this year. And I think plenty of people operate that way. Yeah. It's when you see those couple of games that are going to get you, that'll get you. And that's what Sony's counting on. Sony sold more.
The problem is they just said that you got to make this for both. So,
but it's not that. To me, that's the settings issue. That's just turn off bloom. Add more motion blur.
Okay, but and again, going back to that average person, like you said, the age. Let's be honest, and I think we think that a lot of us within that age range that play games care about it as much as we do. That we care enough that everybody who's considered a gamer cares enough to be all over YouTube and Twitch and all of that. Which the reality is, it's not. We're not the majority. So even that guy who's really into, like at Snoop Dogg, who's really into gaming, Snoop don't know really much about the news. That's why he makes videos talking about turning my shit on Xbox, because he doesn't understand. Like, hey, something happened. He's just bad because his thing don't work.
I mean, that's why. And thank you, truck, for going up and down the street, because that. Fucking, it's like Nintendo with the NX. If Nintendo with the NX comes out and say, here's Zelda, the new Zelda. Here's a new Metroid. Or you go to PlayStation, what? I'm trying to think who PlayStation could bring. Let PlayStation 4.5 be where they bring back Crash Bandicoot.
But Crash Bandicoot has to work on PlayStation 4 as well, so they don't separate the market.
That depends.
That's the thing. They're making everything. But they don't want you to not play on the PlayStation.
But here's the thing. I think they have no problem creating a segmented market if it involves you paying for another console. The issue becomes if it wasn't if it was just going to completely turn you off. There are going to be people that aren't going to do it, because I've heard people talking about how this is a stupid idea and they don't want to use their PlayStation 4 because it's stupid that Sony's even doing this.
Well, I go too far to say that I'm not going to use something I paid for. It's kind of fucking dumb. But no, my thing is this. Like I said, again, if I could still play that thing, because you know me,
but that's
much as I am, I'm not spending an extra. I don't feel like I need to spend an extra $400 right now for that. It's not significant enough. Like, for that to be worth it, it can't just be a slight improvement.
I don't think it's just going to be a slight improvement, though. I think it will be sizable enough that they're going to... Because there's certain games, recently Lawbreakers. Like, take Lawbreakers, right? They are no longer coming to consoles. Lawbreakers is a PC only title now.
Yeah.
So you
Like,
think that Lawbreakers would come to the PS4.5?
I don't think so. But I think that more titles will start doing stuff like that, and so they recognize that to get some of these bigger name titles, like, as much as I play Paragon, it is a fucking miracle that Epic got that thing to run at 60 FPS on the PlayStation 4.
Mm.
Like, like, it's a great engine, but
Okay.
it's surprising to me that my PS4 can run it at 60, but my laptop can't.
Okay. Let me ask this, and let's close out on this. I agree with Prod in the sense of programming for the PlayStation 4.5 and the PlayStation 4. I feel like what they would have to do is make some kind of game slider and have their range from the PS4 to the PS4.5 or whatever. Now I was thinking about this the other night. So when I asked y'all this, let's make this quick because we got other topics we wanted to talk about. But I was thinking about this last night. What if consoles came out every year? Like
I have a
a
PC.
Call of Duty. Right. Hold on. But what if consoles came out every year as technology events like phones, like the iPhone? iPhones come out every year, almost every 6 months. There's the 6, then there's going to be the 6S, and then it's going to be the 7, and then it's going to be the 7S. But what if consoles came out like the PlayStation 4, not the PlayStation 4.5, and then the PlayStation 5 is around the corner? What if they came out every year as technology advanced? What would y'all think about that? Would y'all pay $400 a year?
No.
People pay $600, $700, $800 a year for phones.
Yeah, and those
that's the
people
thing.
that I call psychotic.
This is the thing. Like, as somebody that, like, I'm not that reckless, I guess it would be. It would have to be. The difference would be, again, have to be massive. Like, I agree with Blak. If you buy a phone every single year for $600 or $700, you have a problem.
Okay.
Don't do that. It's not that big of an upgrade. If they could drop the price down, though, if the price was more like $200 or $300, even
For a
then,
new
like,
console every year.
I just thought about that. Wasn't there a rumor where Microsoft was like gonna allow you to almost get an Xbox like you would get a phone, where you pay like a little bit each month?
Kind of
I
do
might
like
have
what they
been.
do with the rental system.
Yeah, and just have you, like, after a certain point, you're always a part of this contract, and so after a year when the new system comes out, then you would just go and trade it in and just renew
But you
your
know,
contract.
I would find it like mind-boggling that we would get there, but that's a much more fucking acceptable.
Well,
It'd
okay.
be,
So,
like,
so
go
the
ahead.
I'm
problem
not
is
saying that I would
pricing.
do it necessarily, but
Right,
it's
right. So
much more
the problem is
acceptable
pricing.
because at least I'm getting, hey, once like I'm not paying ownership. I'm giving you what, $30 a month.
So yeah, let's see, $30 a month over 20 months is $600. So a little under 2 years, you could pay off a console theoretically.
Okay, so just what I'm saying to y'all is,
But I can get the new version
are you
every year.
opposed? Not even just new version. Are you not even getting it? Are you opposed to a console coming out every year, or is it you're opposed to the pricing of a console?
I think at the current, I'm opposed to the
Or
idea of the
both.
current pricing. It's more of the pricing than anything. I think if you pick the right price, it's not as big of a problem.
Yeah, for me it's a
Because
little
see,
of both because
uh-huh,
it's kind of like with the cell phones, so
right.
much R&D and research is putting into it that they kind of have to cost that much. So the pricing, I don't see them being able to say like, well, we're just going to charge you $200 every year. They're
Now
going to charge you
see,
$400 or $500 every year for that thing. So my issue is I'm going to pay a premium for something that, like with cell phones, is
right.
not like getting that much better. It's not like I've made this huge leap to
Okay,
justify that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
right.
It's
So
like
Mike,
leap.
you got the S7, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your phone before that?
I bought the S5 3 years ago.
Okay. So maybe not every year, but would you be opposed to a console coming out every few years?
If it were like my S5, which was falling apart, and I needed a new phone, sure. Because I didn't buy it because I wanted it necessarily.
Right.
Did I want the phone? Yeah, I liked it, but I had reason to get it.
Right. So,
which that would arguably be the games. Like there would have to be games every couple of years that they would force you to upgrade to play.
Yeah, that would be the way they would have to get a lot of people. Is like you feel forced that I can't play.
Mike, 3 years from now,
and for me,
Destiny 4.
That's a bad thing because I don't like being forced to have to get something in order to enjoy something.
Right.
For me, Modem, like I said,
wouldn't work on
the
me.
price. For me, it's 100% the price. Like, I'm not averse to being a part of a contract and doing it. I would prefer to pay a little bit each month than
not even so much,
And see, the other thing
if you had to pay upfront and there was no contract,
but
a yearly thing.
Hold on, are we talking about a world though that there's no PC gaming?
Yeah,
because
and that's
for me that kind of trumps everything because I don't have to touch my PC again over that period of time that we're talking about these.
Well, see, that's the thing. The difference between, well, to me, there's really very little difference between PC and console, and the key difference being if you want to upgrade your PC, you can. If you want to upgrade your console, you can't. You got to wait until they come out with something better. So my thing is, if consoles are like cell phones,
I don't have to wait for them to come out anything better because it's going to always be better than that console. So
wait, what's going to be better than the console?
My PC generally
within
a 5-year
period. PC. I'm talking about
your
console.
Going to be better. Your PC is going to be better than the console.
Right. But see, I'm talking about not so much that, like excluding that PC, it's going to be better and have better hardware. I'm saying console. Period. For you to have better console, you have to wait for the makers to come out.
That are coming out every year on these.
But that's the thing. Like Modem's idea, I don't have.
I understand his idea, but like. See, my logic would go to if I could still get the same shit on my PC, which I don't have to touch, you kind of eliminate me not.
I mean, I'm trying to ignore the PC option because I think at the end of the day, the PC option, that's why I think something like a subscription model, I guess, works. Because a subscription model, if it's like your phone, because like Verizon and all of them have it now to where every year you can bring it in, you just renew the contract.
Then that's why I said that would be a lot more appealing. It may not be something I would want to do, but I think it would be the best option.
And just have the option for people who want to buy it wholesale.
Yeah, like because you can still do that. You can buy phones off contract.
You still can buy your phone wholesale.
If you
want to go into the contract program if you want to.
If you wanted to buy it, just buy the Xbox 3.5. Just pay the $500-$600 up front. Take the console home with you. And you don't have to pay it anymore.
So, in my idea stems from the consoles being behind PC, because no matter what leaps they make in the console generations, PC is always ahead. If they came out with a Xbox One and a PS4 yearly with new hardware, that would, they probably would still be behind PC in some shape or form, but not as bad.
I think I would argue that before they could even do that, they could do like a modular design, because there's also been talk of this, to where like you can actively pull off the GPU of your Xbox One or your PS4 and just hot swap another one in there. And so
that's what we were talking about the last time.
Yeah, if you're paying again, that's not as bad. I think
so you will be better with that than
because I think
console every year.
Theoretically, you're still using the same console. You're just upgrading a piece of it versus saying like once I buy a PlayStation 4.5, I'm not gonna have reason to use my PlayStation 4.
Right.
This is coming from somebody that hasn't ever traded in a console. I just don't trade them in because if I want to go back and play the game, I always have it in its original form to go back and play it.
Right.
The idea to me, though, is like that's the first time I've ever considered like there wouldn't be a reason for me to keep my PlayStation 4. I would trade it in. I would just get rid of it altogether because it's.
So what about you, Mike?
I
Would you
have a
prefer the
PC.
modular
I
or
have wrappers that I could use my controllers, and they make
right? But
controllers for it.
okay,
I,
so for you
see, for
without
me,
PC,
it's like all
would
of
you
that
prefer
is
a
just like
modular console or a yearly console? Which would you prefer?
a
Without
PC.
PC being in the
So
without
no
PC,
PC, I
no
would prefer,
PC.
honestly,
Would you
neither.
prefer the modular or the yearly? You got to choose one, Mike. Come on, man.
I have
So
to
wait,
choose
Mike,
one.
would
Yeah, I
you
have to
would
choose
you
one.
rather? So so Mike, you're saying you would rather be locked into basically the 5 to 10 year cycle of this is what the thing is going to be, but I'll buy a new one every 5 to 10 years. And we're talking strictly console here. Like that.
My bank account appreciates that very, very much so.
So if it was affordable, if Mike could afford a console a year, would you do it?
If I have the type of money that I could afford a console a year, I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. I'd
Oh
be
my god.
off on some island with like 100.
And here's the thing, I get
But
kind
no,
of.
no. To be quite honest, seriously, like I said, to me, the more I think, not necessarily just for me, like
Yeah.
being a tech person, if the swapping thing is fine, but I think the rental thing would work more for the masses,
Okay.
because it still gives those people who have the mentality that I play console because I don't want to be bothered with all of that technical stuff.
Right.
So therefore, they could just walk into a store and hand them their old system, grab
Right.
the new system, and walk out, and that'll
And
keep like that whole.
and for the
I
people
don't have to be bothered.
and for the people that want to save money, it's just like any other thing. They'd be selling the slightly used consoles at a discount of some description.
Right.
So if you didn't mind being like a year or two behind, you just buy the console for cheaper.
Exactly. It'll
And
just go like phones. Like,
like
okay, the previous model goes down,
I think
drops
the
significantly.
reason why
and
I
you
think
pick
that
it
works
up.
is just because Modem, I think like, you can agree. It's a lot easier to say I can. Mike, we were having a conversation about that. I can spend $20 or $30 a month. I can not go to McDonald's maybe once or twice a month,
Right. Right.
and I can go ahead and get this console. That's a lot easier to sell than to me saying like, oh, every year I have to drop 600, even though it's gonna be, or drop even 300, because it's gonna be a similar amount either way. It's just
Right.
it's an easier sell to somebody, especially college students. If going into college, I was like, I get a PS4 by just.
Paying a monthly fee.
You know
Yeah.
how much I would not own a PS4.
Yeah. It makes sense. All right, let's move on though. We've been talking about this for a cool minute.
It's because it's fucking exasperating. Bullshit. All right. Next topic. Oh man. So, let's talk about something lighter.
Okay.
What have you been playing, Modem, lately? Have you been
Man,
playing anything?
the Division, for the most part. I played the Gears of War 4 beta. I like it. It's a lot of fun. The new
I'm
weapons
glad you
are
said
a
it, 'cause
lot
I
of
would
fun.
love to hear your opinions on that.
Oh man, okay. I went in. Let me just lay the basis out from my experience. I went in, no microphone. I didn't talk with nobody. Uh, I played at like late hours, so I don't think that would be peak hours. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I didn't have a problem finding matches. There were no lag issues. I love the shotgun hit detection. I love the movement. The graphics, I can tell it's in alpha because I alpha tested for Activision, so I now know what alpha looks like. And Gears of War 4 is definitely an alpha. So for this to be an alpha, it must be like on the end of being an alpha, but it feels really good for it to be an alpha. I didn't experience any glitches. The weapons, the new weapons like the drop shot and everything, are a lot of fun. Like I said, the shotgun hit detection is on point. Whenever I got into a fight and I killed somebody, I felt like I should have killed them and they should have killed me, vice versa. The Lancer and the Hammer Burst, the return to the 3-round burst for the Hammer Burst is kind of refreshing. It's still powerful. I feel like the damage and the health is on point. I feel like they're in a really good place with this. Uh, what else can I say about it? The maps, people said that map size are huge. I don't agree necessarily, but they definitely aren't small. So I think they're the perfect size, actually. Let's see, no lag issues. Uh, Man, I'm having a hard time saying anything else other than like I enjoyed it. A criticism I had is some of the animations are from like the older games, and I don't like that. That's a pet peeve of any game though. When a sequel comes back and they keep the same animations and shit like that, I don't like that shit. Like I want new animations for a new game. So that's a personal pet peeve. Uh, Mantle Kick is back, which is a great feature. Overall, I'm just really excited. I think it's a really good multiplayer. Oh, yeah. That's pretty much everything.
Funny because a lot of people were shitting on the visuals of it.
Look.
And they came out and stated that it's an alpha. They called it a beta.
No.
Because,
it is. I mean, like I saw the blood and I chuckled, but I'm not holding it against them.
I want to toss this out here.
Okay.
All right. I would like to clarify. Gears is like my favorite shooter franchise.
Right.
One. If it's an alpha, you are, what month are we in? February? You are 6 months away from launch. You don't have a lot of time. Like, you have very little time in reality to do anything significant to this game.
Okay, now counter argument to that is that they could have just sent out old code for people to play.
Right.
Okay.
And also another counter would be how the Division only had a month to fix a bunch of fucking bugs, and they did in a month.
So for the alpha is supposed to mean, which yes, the media has fucked up those definitions as well, that specific core gameplay elements are not in place. Meaning you still have to add textures, you still have to add maybe like certain features or certain elements of the gameplay as a whole. That is what actual alpha is. If it's that, they're still literally building the game.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying, bro. I played an alpha while I was playing testing for Activision, and it was in early alpha. And this alpha from Gears doesn't look early at all. It looks, like I said, on the very end of it being an alpha. So after this test, they probably, before you say something, what I think they're doing is giving us old code, and before they move it into beta, get a good feel for what the community that, will say something and comment on how they feel about the game before they move on, or just leave some shit like this, or just leave. Maybe some people feel differently about the shotgun. Maybe people feel differently about the hammer burst. Maybe people don't want the mantle kick in there. Before they move on, they're like, let's put it out like this. So,
and I guess the way I looked at it is, as somebody that hasn't had hands-on with it, it looks from a gameplay perspective to be solid. I can't complain too much about the gameplay stuff without sitting down and getting a hands-on with it.
Right.
The visuals is where I have an issue because it, in my opinion, looks worse than previous Gears games. And this could be due to them being on Unreal 4 and not knowing how to use the engine as well. I'm not going to get in. The gripe I have there is if I look at Paragon and then look at this. Yeah. Mike, you hit on it briefly. The fucking blood spanner, the blood splatter animation, which I hope is placeholder. Again, all these things can be changed. It's just, I think as a first showing of the game, I went back and looked at the E3 footage,
Yeah.
and this looks like a step back from that.
Well, that's also because it's being shown on PC hardware, and it's probably been touched up as a tech demo and so on and so forth. So
Well,
I can
another
understand
thing
that.
for me is that we're in the era now where alpha and beta have been kind of corrupted, those
Right.
terms. Because most people, when they say they're issuing alphas and beta, biggest example, Destiny. Clearly, that wasn't really an alpha or a beta.
Exactly. That was the game.
Not necessarily just a game, but it was like it was a very curated demo.
Right. Okay. That's a better.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because a little change between the two, and the quality, was pretty damn high for alpha or beta. I mean, I think
They
you
were
played enough
glorified.
alphas and betas too, to know that.
They were stress tests. They
Yeah,
weren't.
yeah.
were
You
increasing
know
size
that playing a
stress
real alpha or beta, that shit gets rough.
Your
Real
game,
rough.
your game is not stable. It I get that piece of it, and I guess part of it is the marketing. They're marketing the game as alpha, which, God, marketing. It just, because I look at games that are actually in alpha or early access, and then people don't understand the concept of what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Because this is how games take it. Again, Gears could be great. I don't want to put out there like Gears is gonna be the worst game, because I don't know. It's just the current showing makes me. It wasn't like Gears to me came out swinging for the fences with this. It felt like they came out trying to play it safe almost. And I don't know, it felt like Epic wasn't as. This wasn't like Epic's flagship as of right now. Like, for the last few bit, Gears has been their kind of flagship title, but it doesn't seem like they're treating it that way.
Well, you gotta remember, it's not Epic anymore either.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that. I
But
really do
also-
keep forgetting that Coalition is now an actual studio.
Yeah, and I also want to say that it's not like this is a bad. Like, I would be worried if this was a trailer, like Gears of War is announced, blah blah blah. I would be worried if this was a trailer. There's no, marketing campaign right now. There's nothing but, to the fans, to people interested, this is a glimpse at what we're bringing. Now, if you play Gears of War Ultimate Edition, the fucking game looks beautiful. I'm more than positive. Like, I'm 100% sure I'm betting on this. Fucking Gears of War 4 is going to be absolutely gorgeous. And right now, it's just showing. It's like waking up to your wife and you see how ugly she is in the morning, but after she brush her teeth, wash her face, and do something with her fucking hair, she's back to being beautiful. Like, we're just seeing an early stage of this shit. I don't think there's anything to worry about at all. Like I said, gameplay wise,
There's going to be a quote unquote beta like 2-3 weeks before the game drops.
Yeah, something like
look at
Battleborn
Battleborn.
like that. Right.
First of all, now I want to make this very clear.
Quick turnaround.
If they can do what Battleborn did, now that I will be clear
Yeah,
about.
because me
I
and
will have no
cursed the fuck
fucking
out of
problem.
Gearbox for that technical test. And that technical test was when? What, February?
Yeah, that technical test, I was sitting here saying I don't have to worry about Battleborn at all. And that was like the general consensus. And then they made cracks. That's what the beta was. Battleborn beta was crack.
Oh.
Crack.
Yeah, it was fucking ridiculously good.
Like, my thing is just,
I understand you're concerned, Prod, but I don't think there's anything to be concerned about.
And because that's one thing, I would just ask anybody, and again, it's multiplayer versus single player. Maybe they're shooting for 60 FPS in multiplayer, so they tone a few things back. Whatever. I'm not gonna put any words in their mouth. But I went back, 'cause I specifically went back and looked at that, and I was like, first of all, Game Informer had a really badly encoded video. I will say that. Game Informer's video does look worse than the actual footage of most people on the game.
Right.
But it just, I don't know. I'm so worried. I want Gears to be good, because Gears is like the Xbox franchise that I'm like, please don't.
And I think it will be. I think, and I would think, like, I want to say I know it will be, but I want to leave me some room to fall back on, but like, okay, I was wrong. But I honestly think wholeheartedly it's going to be great. Like, they got the gameplay mechanics down, and if the gameplay for multiplayer is smooth, like the movement and so on and so forth, then the story shit is going to be smooth as well, you know. And really, that's the main part of any game, the mechanics. It can look as fucking pretty as it wants, but if we can't move, shoot, you know, fucking do rolls and shit like that, there's no fucking point. If weapons aren't working, there's no point in the fucking game.
Yeah.
So right now, they're showing us we got everything down, like, perfect. Like, this shit feels good.
And coming from Judgment, I care about gameplay. Like, at least make it feel like a Gears game. After what happened with Judgment, I
didn't play Judgment too much, so I'm not too sure. But I think we're good.
It looks like a good Gears game. I've been hearing from people that it is a really good gameplay-wise Gears game, and I'll be fine with that. It's just there's certain things that, because also I'm like one of like 1,000 people out there that care about Gears of War's story and lore and all the shit going on with, like, I care about that,
and even with this, I'm kind of, with the beta they put out, they kind of give us a glimpse into what the fuck the story is going to be about. Like, who the fuck is the Swarm? Is this the Locust, like the Savage Locust, but even more regressed? You know, the characters. There's some female characters. There's some male characters. You know, there's they don't look like militia. They look like fucking civilians that were hardened and had to defend themselves. So, you know, I think this, like I said, I think this is gonna be good, yo. Like, really good. And this goes back to the creator of Gears. Even he said they're on to something wonderful, and he is highly impressed, or whatever the fuck he said, or optimistic about it, or whatever. Like, he gave him their cosign. And he doesn't strike the kind of person that want to co-sign something that his name isn't necessarily attached to anymore. Especially when he's moving on to making other games. But giving his co-sign to a franchise that he created that's no longer under his wing says a lot, in my opinion. And I think they're well on their way to making a great Gears game.
I'm sure a lot of people are hoping that it's not Judgment in the league. Pretty much, I think don't know how bad Judgment was.
Right, I didn't play Judgment too much, so I
but
can't comment.
People make Judgment out to be like the world's worst thing in the world for the franchise. Right. So if it's better than that, then it's pretty good, I guess.
I mean, even for me, Gears 3 wasn't all that good. Like, it was I played it for the story mainly. The multiplayer was like, eh. But for me, if it's better than Gears 3, I'm happy. And it already feels better than Gears 3. At least multiplayer gameplay wise. So that's where I'm at with it.
And that's good. Real quick, just to go quickly through the other things. Battleborn, Prod, you're crack, right?
I'm buying it, yes.
Fuck. I wasn't planning on buying anything other than Uncharted next month.
I'm actually, good news. Mirror's Edge Catalyst has been pushed back to June as well. So
okay. I mean, it wasn't going to get probably anytime soon anyway. But if it were a fight between like what two games I can get, Battleborn pretty much can push the like any second game for me off
Like
the
I'm
board.
specifically driving to get my computer tomorrow because Battleborn will be
Yeah.
out in a couple of weeks.
Well,
I
I didn't
sat
get to play
for
Battleborn.
6 straight hours playing that goddamn game.
I
I haven't done
haven't
that
played
in a
it,
minute.
so it sounds like it's a good thing I haven't played it because I ain't got that kind of time to
I
Yeah.
played
anticipate it.
I played-
that shit gets addictive.
I played as much of Battleborn as Battleborn made me stop playing Paragon. Is the simplest way to put it.
Wow.
And that's a big thing for him. So,
Prior to that, in the first like 2 to 3 weeks of Paragon, I played 50 hours of the game. So to basically stop and then move all that time to another game,
Right.
it kept me away from Dark Souls 3. It kept me away from Ratchet and Clank Super Heavy. I was literally for 2 weeks' time mainly playing Battleborn. My first day playing it, I think I put in like a 6 to 10 hour session,
Wow.
which I don't normally do that anymore.
No, I feel it. It makes sense.
yeah.
Glad I
and
missed out on
Doom
that.
Beta. Doom Beta was actually good.
I didn't get to play that either.
It was actually good. It's fun. I don't know how much it'll last.
That's kind of my question. Like, but did it make you want to buy the game? Like, Battleborn made me want to buy the game.
Yeah, and see, I don't think it's gonna be. I mean, for me,
the Gears of War 4 beta
because
makes me want to buy
it's like it was a good blast of nostalgia. I think it's a good, like, simplified, you jump in, jump out shooter. Something that I think if it were me getting it, it would be that nice, okay, I need something to play real quick. I'm gonna play this because I don't have to like worry about all the extra stuff. My biggest concern is what most modern shooter players are gonna think, because there's really not much in the way of a system. There's no real system. A lot of shooters these days are built on different systems, perk systems, classes, and all that. There's like a slight nod to, hey, we got 3 different weapon setups. That's about it. You can do some customization, and they do let you do custom loadouts. So that's the nod, but pretty much once you're in the game, that's it. You're go. You pick up ammo on the fly from different areas on the map, so your gun can't run out of ammo. There's no running. There's no sprint because you're always sprinting, to be quite honest. So there's no sprint button or anything like that. As far as I know, there's no crouch. You can crouch, I think. No, you can't crouch. There's no crouch or the prone. So it's just you run around and you shoot somebody. That's it.
So are you saying you want deeper mechanics, or are you saying...
I'm saying that people who are like who started their gaming during the Call of Duty era probably
might not
attached to it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
It may not. It's not. I don't think it's gonna hold like this era of people who play shooters. But it is a fun game. So.
Yeah, it looks fun. I feel like it's a contender with Gears as far as like multiplayer for the gore and all that shit. So I'm sure it'll do well enough for it being a reboot and so on.
But yeah, so it's cool. There's a lot of cool stuff. We still got E3. Oh my god.
When is E3, by the way?
E3. Oh gosh. Technically, E3 starts on the 14th of June.
Okay.
But of course, now that everybody's running away from E3, as far as doing their shows on the traditional days, it actually starts on the 12th because EA is doing a conference that morning.
Okay.
And then Bethesda is doing one that evening. And then EA, after they do their conference, they're doing their whole EA experience thing where they pretty much, for the whole week, they have their own setup off site where you can come to their booths and play games and see demos and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
well, that makes sense.
So yeah, we're going to have to. Oh man, and with all these rumors for consoles, E3 is going to be fucking interesting as hell. Interesting as hell. But I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna have to cut this one short because people have obligations.
Yeah.
But we will be back soon. Don't worry.
Probably. Well, no, maybe not next Tuesday or Thursday, but whenever I have a day off, I'll let you know.
All right. Yep. And we will let you people know as well. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Prod, go ahead and say goodbye to the people.
Peace, everybody. I'm gonna take this a very quick moment to say, in 3 hours or so, we'll be streaming for the kids of St. Jude. So, drop on over.
What's up? That's what's up. All right, Modem. Go ahead and say bye to the people. Tell them when you're coming back to YouTube.
Shit. When am I coming back? I don't even know, man. I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I'm gonna do gameplay like I was, like maybe just do like some commentary pieces, because I wanna get better hardware before I actually start doing gaming shit again. Like, I'm still gaming, and I'll probably still talk about games and shit like that. But as far as gameplay, it's like I don't want to do what I've been doing, and I don't think the PC I have, or excuse me, the laptop, let me be technical, that I have, and the Elgato I was using are going to last much longer. So I'm gonna just chunk that shit to the side, get better hardware, new hardware, and when I do that, probably return to gaming. But I'm thinking about just doing commentary pieces until then.
That's what's up. Cool. So he's coming back. That's what he's saying. Okay.
Yeah. I'll come back soon. Pretty soon.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time. Peace.